everybody. My name is Holly Lehman. Welcome to the November episode, number 17 for Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community. I am so happy to have our guest today. But before we jump in to our rock stars in the MVP and partner community, I want to introduce myself. My name is Holly Lehman. I am here from Seattle, Washington, doing our November episode with my friend that I travel all over the world with always. Izzy, thank you for being my partner in community. Feel free to intro yourself and our amazing guest.
Hi, everybody. So great to be back for our November episode of Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community. Today, I'm very excited with her next guest because they are really rock stars in the community. I luckily had the honor to meet them in person multiple times at events like Experts Live Europe or Microsoft Ignite. And of course, throughout the years, I've been following a lot of their activities. So who are we talking about? We're talking about Gregor and Richard. Please come on the virtual stage. Let's head over to you, Greg, to quickly say hi and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. So yeah, my name's Gregor Suttie. I am an Azure architect and I live in Scotland. I work for a Dutch company called Intercept. I'm an MVP and an MCT, and yeah, just love working with the community. So thank you very much for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. I think you two are the actual rock stars. Me and Richard are just imposters. But yeah, that's enough about me. Richard, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm Richard Hooper, or Pixel Robots as you may know me online. Based up in Newcastle in UK in England. Originally I'm from Oxford, so down south, but now living up north. I also am an Azure architect working for Intercept with Gregor, and day to day we just have a lot of fun working with Azure. Also an MVP and MCT as well. But yeah, just love everything we do with the community, with Intercept. It's awesome.
Well, I have to say we are missing our third partner in crime with Intercept, Wesley. We miss him, and we will have him on a future episode because it feels a little awkward not having the three of you. I don't have the privilege of meeting you in person yet, like Izzy, but I've been able to work with Intercept for over a year now through the Azure North Star partner community that I ran. And I loved meeting with you and hearing all the nuances of what you're working on with Azure and all the amazing things that you're doing for our Microsoft partners. Now, when we think about what Intercept does, Richard, you are known all over the internet for being the AKS king. I would love to, understand why you really honed into AKS in specific. And Gregor, when we're done, feel free to jump in and tell us what your passion is and why when we think about our tech audience that's listening today.
So yeah, that's a really good question. The easy answer is I used to work at a company based in the UK, and they were migrating from a legacy application running on Windows VMs, and we needed to be able to scale it quickly. So I was the only IT ops guy there, and we needed a platform that we could move to be able to scale. We tried Service Fabric, didn't work for our needs. We tried Kubernetes AKS, and it worked, and I fell in love with it. And I've just realized for IT pros, it makes your life so much easier because you don't have to manage servers or anything like that now. You just do the really basic AKS stuff, and I don't have to worry about security patching, several hundred VMs or anything like that. So it makes my life easier. And then the more I got involved with it, and then by moving to Intercept, it's just sort of grown and grown because I get to use it every day now, and it constantly changes, and I love to always be learning. And with AKS, I am always learning every day because something changes and you have to keep up to date with it. And it's got this massive ecosystem, the Cloud Native Foundation, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of applications that work with Kubernetes and AKS, and you need to sort of know about them all to be able to put everything together. So it's just the constant learning. I just absolutely love it.
I always say Azure is almost like a game of Tetris. You have to build it right from the beginning and then slowly compound to create, the right environment. Gregor, what about you?
Yeah, I actually like that analogy. Tetris, I'm going to steal that and borrow that. Yeah. So I like doing everything else. So I'm kind of a developer by trade. So I've been a developer for 15, 20 years. So yeah, previous job, I wasn't doing any cloud stuff. So when I joined Intercept, I get to use Azure every day. As a developer, I get to work on all the development projects. So we work with ISVs across Europe. So they're all basically developing all sorts of different things. So I get to do all the cool stuff as well. I don't do AKS because yeah, Richard's more than welcome to keep doing that stuff. I don't mind doing all the other stuff. Stuff like cognitive services and all that kind of stuff. There's so much variety in my job. That's why I love it. Every time we talk to customers that are doing something new, something exciting, putting technologies to good use. We've got loads of customers in Africa doing some really interesting stuff. So I love doing things like that. I kind of like doing projects that help change the world a little bit. I know it sounds like cliched, but actually help people. That's kind of my big thing, is helping people. So on calls today as well with customers who just need help. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I like doing, helping people. And the technology is quite interesting. It's changing all the time as well. So that's one of the big challenges, is just trying to keep up to date with it all. But yeah, everyone apart from AKS is my bag. And networking, I don't know networking either. I don't know how to do networking. So everyone else apart from those two.
Well, I think it's amazing to you both light up when you talk about your passion. And I'm going to jump back to Richard really quick. Now, I was under the impression you wrote the book, you helped the book, you're a piece of the book. For those, Izzy and I, we have virtually traveled the world talking about how to, hit your goals and your passions. Tell us about this book that you had a hand in being a part of. Tell the people that are listening, for your goal writing. There you go.
Yeah, okay. I got the book with me, but yeah, it's the Hands-on Kubernetes on Azure book, which is awesome. It's written by a few people, but this third edition is the one I got involved in, and basically I was tech reviewing it. So I was checking everything is technically correct, every example works. I was working with the author to see which sections would be better, which wouldn't be better. So we cut a whole section out because for the book it just wasn't needed. Sometimes as Azure changes and Kubernetes changes, he would write a whole section, pass it over to me, and it would all need to be redone because it's totally changed in Azure now. So we just sort of worked on that. I sent him some screenshots and the code examples and stuff like that. So for me, it's been an amazing journey to actually be able to be involved in creating this book, which is available for free from Microsoft as well as an ebook. And yeah, it just helps reaffirm what I'm learning and helps me continue to learn as well, which is awesome.
That's so amazing, Rich. And of course, it also shows truly, again, one of your passions. And I think that's something that whenever I think about the both of you, I just think about passion. I think about community. I think about dedication. You're always helpful. And you also bring cheer to the community with one of topics I would love to talk about is the Festive Tech Calendar. Coming back in December, we're almost there. So let's head over to you, Greg, and please tell us more about the initiative of the Festive Tech Calendar and also about this year's charity in honor of Abel Wang, Girls Who Code.
Yep. So first of all, we started, myself and Richard wanted to try and come up with an idea towards the end of the year that was fun. First of all, the big thing is it's got to be fun. Everybody's kind of worn out. We're going to conferences and doing the same sort of sessions. So I kind of got together with Richard and we thought, well, let's try and run, it was the Azure Advent Calendar at that time. So there was a guy who did the C# Advent Calendar, and I thought, I'll reach out to him and ask him if he minds us stealing his idea and doing an Advent Calendar with Azure. So we did that, and we got people to dress up and sing songs and do all sorts of your poem as well. So we did a lot of good stuff there. And what the main reason for doing it is to try and give someone a bit of limelight. So if they want to try and create a content like a blog post or do an online video, make it fun, get them started in doing this kind of creating content type thing. Make it fun, put it out there for people to take part in. And it went off quite well. I think we had something like 93 sessions in the first year we ran it, which is great. Then we kind of got involved a little bit with Microsoft because they wanted to try and help back it and get a bit wider audience. So they said, why don't you change it to the Festive Tech Calendar so it's not just Azure, and try and get all the other communities involved. So we did that last year, and that was a rip-roaring success. I think it was really good. It was a good laugh. There was like online yoga and things like that where two girls from Microsoft are doing yoga and trying to teach people yoga. People were singing. I think we had Dwayne singing songs and things like that. So
that was amazing.
That was John, right? Was it John Lamb who was singing?
No, it was Dwayne.
No?
Dwayne that one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, the first day. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I just love the concept. We always know the same presenters, and those presenters are great. But if we don't give other people the opportunity to at least learn and try and grow, and then be the next group of those known presenters. So I just really loved what you did, but giving other people the opportunity in a really safe place to give it a go.
Yeah, Richard, do you want to talk about Shabazz? Because that's kind of
I was just going to say, Shabazz, he did his first ever talk at the Azure Advent Calendar the first year. So like 2 years ago, I think it was. So his first ever talk he ever did, his first ever community thing, and now he's a Microsoft MVP. He's written books himself as well for training. So we've helped him, we've embraced him, and he's just flourished in this community. And it's just amazing to see what can be done. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's definitely something. Well, you don't just bring content to the community. I mean, we know for Greg, for the ones who follow Greg on Twitter, you find MVPs in the community. I don't know if you're leading like some scoreboard or something, but how many people have you nominated and have been awarded in the past years of being an MVP yourself?
So just on that, normally when I'm quite good at spotting people that are good in the community. It's easy to do, really, to be honest. You can spot people who are decent people. That's the first and foremost thing. It's not just technically, they need to be good people and kind of giving back unselfishly. So I think I've nominated 14 and 12 have became MVPs. So there's one currently doing it. So there's only one person who's not got it. And I think they've went on to do other things. But yeah, it's easy to spot people. We do also the Cloud Family thing where we do the top person in tech every month. So I kind of keep an eye on people who are up and coming and try and give them a bit of limelight, because that's kind of what I retweet. I don't really retweet people who are well known, and because their stuff gets retweeted then by other people. I like to find people who are new and upcoming and try and retweet their stuff so they get a little bit of limelight, because it's difficult when there's a lot of people doing a lot of online content, especially during COVID. So yeah.
That's a great mindset, and thank you for that, of course, and also for also supporting me in the MVP community. So putting work stuff, Intercept, community a little bit on the side, we also have fun stuff coming up. So I heard from a little bird that Richard is going on a little magical trip to the most magical place on Earth.
Yes.
Richard's got them. You should ask Richard to put his on.
They're all stored away.
When are you going? Where are you going? Who are you going with? What are you most excited about? Tell us.
Yeah, so next Monday I'm flying off to, unfortunately, only Disneyland Paris, not the big one in America. Hopefully next year that will happen, to the California one. But yeah, so Monday I'm off there for 5 days, staying at the new Marvel Hotel, which is going to be amazing, because I absolutely love Marvel. And I'm just so excited to go see the castle, because it's just been refurbished as well. So it's all nicely, freshly painted for the 30th anniversary happening in March. As you can tell, I'm quite a big Disney nut, because I know it all inside out. I'm really looking forward to, one of my favorite rides is in Frontierland, which is Phantom Manor. It's really cool, like Gothic-y style house. And you just go around on a dune buggy, seeing all these cool things. You go down to this underground town, which is called Thunder Mesa, which is where the big Thunder Railroad, which is another ride in that area. And it's just amazing. I absolutely love it. And I just can't wait to go spend 5 days, not worrying about work, not worrying about life, and just seeing the Disney magic and eating lots of food. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I can totally imagine. I really envy you. I wish you lots of fun. And like you said, to just get 5 days out, not focus on work. So just to quickly recap on your work, we spoke about it at the beginning, of course. So you joined remotely a company in the Netherlands. So we're gonna speak some Dutch. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't do that.
But how has that been for you to start remote and keep working remote? Probably not have met many of your colleagues.
Yeah, no. So for me, I've only ever met Wesley and I think Rinny at Ignite 2018 or 2019. I can't even remember because it's so many years ago. And that was obviously before I was working here. So I've only ever met those two of the Netherlands colleagues. I've not met any of the others. Obviously, I knew Gregor, and he helped me get in at Intercept, which is good. And working remotely, it's actually been relatively easy because of COVID. I was working from home where I used to work, even though the office was only like a couple of miles away. We got forced to all work from home. So I got sort of comfortable and used to it. And what we used to do is sort of have Teams calls with a load of us and just have it on in the background. And I've continued that with Gregor. So we just sort of get on Teams throughout the day and we'll continue working, but we have that background noise and we can just sort of talk to each other throughout the day, which really helps. Otherwise you sort of go a bit crazy just staring at your screen. Obviously the cats really help as well, having 2 little cats running around and crying at me always for attention. Luckily I've shut them out and my partner's looking after them at the moment, so they're not crying. But yeah, that's sort of how I've managed to sort of stay sane during working from home in the pandemic. And obviously at the end of the day, I'll try and go for a walk after work. So I cut off, shut my laptop down, go for a walk, clear the head, no technology for like an hour or so. And it just definitely helps a lot.
You know, I know when I had the privilege of talking to Yob once a month, he talked about how you guys have a little WhatsApp group. And it's this feeling of friendship, like constantly. It doesn't feel so, I'm going to go talk to my CFO or my, manager or my boss. It was just like we chat, we talk. And I love that you guys, I don't know if you still do it, but you did a virtual Friday happy hour just to chit chat with each other. I think that was one thing I really loved about working with the Intercept community, is that you really do draw people together and you look after each other's mental well-being. And I think that's so important now more than ever. And I know that our MVP community have really lit up during, this last few years, because you really had to get creative with different ways to achieve those goals. Excuse me. And so when I think about 2 rock stars in the MVP world, I mean, it really is the 2 of you. And I would love to hear, Gregor, tell me about how you became an MVP, what steps you took, and why you wanted to become an MVP. And I want to hear your story, because I can't tell you how often Izzy and I are DM'd and reached out to about, can you help me be an MVP? Yeah. And it's like, I would love to recommend you if I know you, but there's a lot of work you have to do that we can't do for you. So.
Yeah, so just on that, if you want to become an MVP, you do need to know the person. That's one of the rules. So
yes.
I think every MVP gets reached out to, like, how to become an MVP.
Yeah.
The trick is you don't really, it's not like an exam you go after. It's just something you get from being in the community and helping people. So the big focus is on the word community and helping people in the community. So I all started for me when I was starting to learn Azure. Sarah Lane was running the Glasgow Azure user group, and I thought, oh, that sounds quite good. I went along to that for probably 6 or 7 evenings, months in a row, and then she said, would you mind helping out? So I started off just helping out with that, and it's literally just put the chairs out for people to come, and that's literally all I did for quite a while. Most of the time, that's really all I did. And then I just thought, like, this is really cool. And then organised the Azure Global Bootcamp. And then I saw speakers coming and they had MVP logos, and before that, I literally didn't know what an MVP was. I didn't know anything about it, because you don't really know until you speak to people. And I didn't know any MVPs. But then going to the Azure user group, these people had MVP logos and shirts and all that. And I thought, what is this? So I looked into it a bit more and thought, yeah, that looks really cool. Being able to say you're an MVP, read up on it, and then back then you could self-nominate. So I self-nominated. Long story short, they got rid of it like straight after I nominated myself. So I had to get someone else to nominate me, and then it's just been like that from then on. But what I would say is, if I wasn't an MVP, I would still do what I'm doing today. So it's not something you should try and go after. You just need to help if you're helping out in the community, someone will recognise that and then nominate you, which is quite nice as well. It's nice to be able to nominate people who haven't came to you and said, do you mind nominating me? So yeah, it's something.
And that's the one thing I've noticed with every MVP I had the privilege of really getting to know. Like, I feel like I've gotten to know the 2 of you, is that it's the people that hit the MVP title, it's this genuine need to have a love for whether it's community or the technology, and they have this passion around helping others achieve something better. And I think that those are the people that really deserve to have that title, because it is a privilege, and you stand out in the community once you hit that. And so that's why I wanted to hear your story. What about you, Richard? Tell us about your MVP background.
Yes, so I was lucky enough to be in the IT ops scene using Hyper-V quite a lot. And there's this one guy called Aidan Finn. He's an MVP. He's been a very long time MVP, very vocal in the community. And I used to follow his blogs religiously, because I was learning all about Hyper-V, and I could just go on his blog and find out what I needed to know and then do it. So I started looking further into the program there, going on the website, reading about it all, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. I like helping the community, you know, and I feel like I could probably do what Aidan's doing with the community stuff and helping people. So I'm going to start my own blog. I started my own blog back in, I can't even remember, 2016, maybe, something like that. And so that's pixelrobots.co.uk. Just a little promotion there. And yeah, so first off, it sort of started with, I thought, I'm going to help some people here, but most of all, I want to focus on my notes to help myself because I forget things quite a lot. And so I had this all started up. It was mostly focused on Windows servers, Hyper-V and that back in the day. And then I started growing more into Azure, and then the Azure exams changed to the role-based Azure exams. Mm-hmm. So I did some study guides, so found all the links you needed, mapped it all together. And those blog posts sort of took off. I had I think currently over 60,000 views on some of them and stuff like that. Wow. And they were being shared internally inside Microsoft, HPE and that. And it sort of got my name out there a bit more and helping the community more. And then I think it was Kenny Lowe recognized this, and I went to some conferences, met Kenny Lowe, and we got chatting, and then he nominated me, which was quite nice.
Me too. Go Kenny!
Yeah, Ken is awesome.
That is awesome.
He is so
I always
funny.
tell people, as big as the world is, the tech community, it's quite small, because I was telling my husband how I feel like, even though I've never traveled out of the US, because let's be clear, resorts in Mexico and Canada don't count. But you know, being that I've not really traveled through the world, I always tell my husband, I feel like now, no matter where I would travel, I know somebody who would love to join us and be a tour guide. And that's such a cool experience. And it shows what community does. So like I said, for someone that's never traveled much out of the US, I would love for each one of you to tell us a little bit about you. I know in the beginning you mentioned where you're from, but I would love for you to say again where you're from and tell us one really cool thing about where you live. For someone like me that might never make it there, tell me a little bit about it.
I'll let you go first, Gregor.
Right, okay. So my nearest city is Glasgow. So Glasgow is where Billy Connolly's coming from, if you think of the comedian. So when you're driving to Glasgow from most motorways, there's a sign up that says "People make Glasgow." So it's a thing about Glaswegians are like the most welcoming people and kind of that you'll ever meet. So if you ever come to Glasgow, you will probably meet with very friendly people. So that's one of the big things. It's kind of an industrial town. So it was kind of shipbuilders back in the day. So it's not the most glamorous place. Let's just say it's kind of like a dirty industrial place. But the people have had a hard upbringing and kind of friendly but very funny people. The one thing I did want to say is there's a monument called of the Duke of Wellington in the middle of Glasgow, and it's got this traffic. It's a guy sitting on a horse, and there's a traffic cone on his head like every day of the year. Now, if the police come along and remove that traffic cone, someone finds a traffic cone for someone else and puts it back the next day. So it's always like that. It's just a kind of running joke in Glasgow, but that's just the kind of people that kind of make Glasgow. So people make Glasgow. So that's a little insight into that. Yeah.
I love that.
That's really
what about
cool.
you, Richard?
So Newcastle, I've only been here 8 years or something like that, 7 years, 8 years. So I don't know it too well, but it's just from coming from Oxford down south and London way, where everyone sort of walks around looking at the ground, not at each other, to come up to Newcastle where everyone just stares at you and is so happy and stares at you in a good way, but they're just so happy to talk to you and they're so open and friendly. It's just such a nice change. And you know, we got the beach, like from where I live now, it's about 30 minutes drive away, and they're lovely beaches. I got lovely walks up in Northumberland, so it's an amazing sort of. They've got this dark skies area called Kilda, and it's just amazing. They've got lovely observatories, so you can see amazing stars. The Northern Lights you can actually even see there if you're lucky. Oh, wow. So you don't even need to go to Iceland. It's just amazing up here. I would probably never ever move back down south because people up here are just so friendly and it just makes you feel very welcomed.
I love that. One more thing, this is totally ad hoc, but for someone who is a huge foodie, what is your favorite dish in each one of your cities? Gregor?
In Glasgow? It's got to be a curry, because I think the curries in Glasgow are better than anywhere else. There's a big thing in Britain about competitions of Indian curries and whose makes the best, but there's a place in Glasgow that's highly usually number one. People were talking about that on Twitter recently. Ed Curry and Sarah were arguing, but yeah, curry in Glasgow is probably my favourite.
Very cool.
Nice.
Richard?
So I'm not much of a foodie myself, but I do like a good burger. And there's this one place up in Newcastle. Well, there's a few places up in Newcastle that do an amazing burger. There's a place called Meat Stack, and their burgers are like double patties and so juicy and just amazing. And then there's this other place called Lola Jeans, and the burgers there, they've won awards, and it's just, you bite into heaven. It's just amazing. Yeah.
I have a feeling Holly is like secretly like making this list of places in
Yes.
Europe where she should go to, restaurants where she should go eat. And well, Holly, you also definitely should come to my village, and I'll tell you about the favorite thing in my village, where we just live with a couple of people and a bunch of sheep and alpacas. So, which is true. It's around our building, which you might have seen if you follow me on socials. I sometimes post the animals. So we actually, our landlord, however you want to call it, from the building, we rent animals. They then like eat the grass, and we take care of them, and then they go away again to like another place, and then they come back. So it's like it's always a surprise what animals we have around our building. And currently we have sheep and alpacas. And no, that's definitely fun. So if you come to Switzerland, Holly, I don't think that you would not ring on my doorbell. So yeah.
If I'm coming to Switzerland, it's to see you, my friend.
I think you need a Teams on tour. That's what you need to call it. Teams on tour and go around to Europe.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, Holly has some goals for next year to make it on this side of the pond. So yeah, guys, before we close off, so I quickly asked at the beginning, I do really want to touch on that point, maybe back to you, Greg, about Girls Who Code around the Festive Tech Calendar, because that's also new for this year, right?
Yeah. So last year we wanted to raise some money for charity, but it's just towards the end of the year, it's quite busy for everyone, and we just really didn't get time to plan it. So I kind of spoke to Carol, who works for us as well, and he did a Girl Just Giving page to raise money with his blue hair thing, and I thought, right. So we kind of thought we'd come up with a charity. We weren't sure which one because it's a bit of a global event. We've got people taking part from everywhere, so it's tricky to choose a charity that would make sense. So I reached out to April Edwards, who had already set up the T-shirts for April's fund as well. So I reached out to April. And she said, why don't you just do it for Girls Who Code? So we looked into that, and it's a really, really great charity. So we asked her to set the page up because it's close to her heart, and it's close to the fund for April's charity as well. So that was kind of the reason why we chose that one over anything else. Just I thought that would be really quite nice to do. So yeah, we've got a reasonable target of £5,000, which is probably way too high, but we'll see how we go on. So hopefully we can. Yeah, whatever. We've raised a couple £100 already, so it's brilliant. Any money we raise is a bonus, to be honest. Yeah. It hasn't even started yet, so hopefully we'll get to our target.
Let's hope we have the whole month, of course. We have lots and lots and lots of content coming up. I'm very excited to be opening with another poem, so stay tuned. And then,
looking forward to that.
Yeah,
me too.
And then, of course, 31 days of content. And let's hope that the community will hear our voices and the importance of the future of these girls and the charity of Girls Who Code. And that a lot of people will make that donation so that we can hit that 5,000 goal.
Yeah.
Let's just say we will do it.
We're going to record a little video on a bit more about Girls Who Code and then kind of cover the charity a bit more. We've just not had time to do that, but we'll definitely do that before we start. Yeah. That's definitely on the hit list. Yeah.
Perfect. So guys, well, I mean, there's so many topics I'm sure that Holly and I would love to keep on talking with you, but we gave our audience a little bit insight, who you are, what you do, what's coming up with the Festive Tech Calendar. So with that, I would like to thank both of you very much for being on our show today. That was an absolute honor. And if there's anything else you would like to share with us or with the community, then this is your moment to do so.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for coming on. We actually think you're the rock stars of this.
Yeah,
we
100%.
We just do what we do, and we love your show, and thanks for having us on. I hope everybody enjoys the Festive Tech Calendar, and hopefully we can raise some money for a good charity. So.
Well, and for those listening, not only is the Tech Festive Calendar super fun and very driven by community, but if you haven't watched Intercept Insight, I would highly recommend that as well. Three amazing humans from the Intercept world interviewing people in the tech community, and it's fun and it's lively, and you do updates on what's coming with Azure and what you're working on. You really humanize, what the partner community does. You have a passion for Azure, and personally, I loved working with the three of you because for someone who feels very intimidated when I talk tech with, architects, you always made me feel like a part of the Intercept family. It was always fun, and you're very humble, but you're very brilliant about what you do. So thank you for being on the show. Time is valuable, so thank you. We loved having you, and we can't wait to see what happens with the Tech Festive Calendar this year. It's going to be a good time.
That is.
Yeah.
Thanks for,
And
thank
then
you for
there
having
was
us.
one very important thing: we never ever let our guests go without.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Cool.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Take care. And for everybody who was watching or listening today, I hope you enjoyed our November episode with these two absolute rock stars and my lovely partner in fun, Holly Lehman, over in Seattle. So stay tuned. We're going to be back in December with the end of the year special. And we are already full mode planning for the next year. So you will definitely see a lot more of Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community. Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right.